Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Blue Corner. I'm Mike, as always, one part of the Unknown Experts. Rapid fire headlines, people. Josh Barnett is calling it quits with the UFC after a 5-year return to the company. It appears to be on his end. He wants to be able to fight anywhere all over the world, as well as to keep up his commitments with New Japan Pro Wrestling as a commentator. We've also learned that RDA nearly lost his ear in the Covington fight. It turns out that in a 2017 sparring session with Michael the Count Bisping, the former middleweight champion, there was a tear on the knee that was made worse in the Covington fight by a step-in left hand to the right ear that detached it on the rear end of the ear. Um, Bellator has made the super fight for the middleweight champion Gegard Mousasi's belt versus the welterweight champ Rory McDonald. So to be clear, the middleweight belt will be on the line in the middleweight welterweight super fight. So Mousasi versus Gegard is official for September 29th in San Jose, as well as Rampage Jackson versus Wanderlei Silva Part 4. So it's stateside, so you gotta lean towards Rampage, but it's Bellator, so who knows? It could get interesting real quick, especially after Wanderlei's last outing, where he made it harder than you would think to put him away. Other big news: Lyoto Machida signed with Bellator after closing out his UFC contract with the front kick to Vitor Belfort. Anderson Silva, he signed with Bellator, and Coker's come out and said that fights at light heavyweight as well as middleweight are interesting. He's even flirting with the idea of a fight with Fedor. I would presume that'd be a catchweight fight, and maybe Lyoto weighs 206 and they make it heavyweight. Who knows if Fedor will even still be in the fray at that point. This kind of cements Coker as the anti-Dana White, if we didn't already know that. He's not going to be satisfied until he's completely concussed. Stipe Miocic, the heavyweight champion, was asked to comment on Brock Lesnar and Curtis Blades, and he said that Daniel Cormier is his primary concern at the moment, and he didn't take the easy opportunity to take a jab at Lesnar for being a quote-unquote fake fighter. So, I mean, he really is the type of guy that could be the poster boy for the sport, like Modell's tried to use him as so far. Greg Hardy, who just got that contract on the first week of the Contender Series, was injured in an arena football game a week after winning said contract. UFC Singapore, Leon Edwards looked amazing, beating Cerrone 48-47, 3 rounds to 2. OSP looks more and more like a catch wrestler every time he fights. He ended up beating Pedro with a straight arm bar when he went for a Kimura. He changed his approach and got the lock nonetheless. Somebody in his camp is teaching him because he's got all the finer points down. Peter Yan made a very impressive UFC debut, defeating 8-fight veteran Ishihara by TKO once he found the range for his punches in round 1. So it's interesting to have a Russian boxer now in the mix. Matt Brown's style slicing elbow to the temple by Felipe Arantes scored the KO for the Team Alpha Male prospect Song Yadong, and ended the fight with 1 second left in round 2, exactly 4 minutes and 59 seconds in. Maybe the most impressive win by a Chinese-born fighter in the UFC. So in the final stretch here, we have Kevin Lee proposing a 165-pound title match for him and Georges St. Pierre. Motown Phenom's getting a little ahead of himself, thinking they're going to make a whole division for him, no matter how long it's been rumored. Besides that, that's barely the gap where maybe that's a gap where the weight class is needed. We'll see. Either way, DC and Jones are back tweeting again, beefing at each other, but it's a little too early. John's got to wait for DC to somehow get past Stipe before he starts in on that, and then Molly Wop Lesnar to set up their third fight. The only way it could happen. The Ultimate Fighter 2 heavyweight winner and the former light heavyweight champion Rashad Evans retired, saying, quote, "I can't fool myself anymore." I mean, good for him. He's good on the desk at FS1. And finally, We still have no news on Bellator's Grand Prix semifinals, but we do have, like noted last week, we got McGregor's coach Kavanaugh now coming out and saying from SPG Ireland that the wheels are turning and that don't be surprised if McGregor fights before the end of this year, and that would obviously be against Khabib. So fingers crossed. As always, I've been Mike. As always, this has been the Blue Corner. I'll catch you again real soon with any more updates on the sports.